It's the weekend here at Muscle in the Morning, and I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Friday, December 22nd, 2017. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. This year, we've been lucky enough to see a few athletes step out of the shadows and into the spotlight to make a name for themselves on some of the biggest stages in our sport. And it just wouldn't feel right if we went the entire season without showing some love to emerging second-year pro, Josh Wade. In his first full season as a pro, the former NPC Team Universe champ ran off a string of really impressive top 5 finishes, including an awesome third-place outing at the Ferrigno Legacy Classic a few weeks ago to close out the year. By all accounts, Wade and his team have hit the ground running so far this offseason, and once again have big plans in store for their 2018 campaign. So once the calendar flips over and the new season officially gets underway, you might want to make sure you keep your eye on Wade and his crew to see what sort of surprises they may have up their sleeve in the new year. Josh Wade definitely wasn't the only one who opened up some eyes with his performance back at the Ferrigno Legacy Classic, because we also saw a couple of notable efforts in the men's physique division by guys like 5th place finisher Frank Griffin. Since wrapping up a very strong season that saw him close out the year with back-to-back top 5 finishes, the Philadelphia product seems to be well on his way towards carrying the good juju right over into the next season. My sources close to the city of brotherly love tell me that Griffin has been training like an absolute demon over these last few weeks and is well ahead of the pace he set heading into this, his career best season. The men's physique division is so stacked on any given day that an athlete with Frank Griffin's talent can absolutely be capable of pulling off some major upsets. And it'll be interesting to see if he can build on the foundation he put in place this year to take the next step at some point in the next few months. Earlier this year, Hurricane Irma absolutely rocked the island of Puerto Rico and sent this entire part of the world into complete disarray. But I guess not even Mother Nature is strong enough to slow down the unstoppable force that is veteran big man Alexis Rolon. Recently, Rolon has started to trickle out a few intriguing update photos that show the former NPC national champ sporting what could easily be considered the best overall off-season look that he's had to date. Even with all the outside circumstances that he's been faced with this year, at least on the outside, Rolon doesn't seem to be any worse for the wear these days. And given that he'll have more than a full calendar year since his last contest when the 2018 season gets underway, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of improvements he delivers once all these outside distractions have been eliminated. The great Charles Darwin, in all his infinite wisdom, believed that having the ability to adapt was one of the keys to evolutionary survival. And considering that he's now a 2-time Olympian, coming off the best season of his career in an absolutely loaded men's physique division, I'd say that veteran standout Jake Alvarez seems to be adapting just fine. Less than 2 full months into his off-season program, the former USA champ is probably the biggest and fullest he's ever been, and still hanging on to some pretty damn good conditioning to boot. From a competitive standpoint, Alvarez really seems to have come into his own over the last year and change, and he's grown into one of the more intriguing guys in the division. But if he can figure out what he needs to do to lock up career win numero uno, well, it could end up being a launching point for some really big things in the future. Before his untimely passing, the great Christopher Reeve once said, "A hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere in spite of overwhelming obstacles." And I can't think of a person who is the true embodiment of that quote during this holiday season more than rising NPC figure competitor Devin Win. Despite narrowly missing out on a pro card with an agonizing 3rd place finish at this year's NPC Nationals, Win overcame even greater obstacles away from the stage recently after her husband Blaine Hare suffered a C5 palsy during a neck surgery he was undergoing following a severe head trauma. But instead of wallowing in the misery or sorrow, Devin and her husband found the strength to persevere and opened up their own gym, Iron Summit Vintage Strength Training, down in Trumbull, Texas, where she's already preparing to make another run at earning her IFBB Pro card in the 2018 season. And if that story doesn't inspire you to be thankful for your blessings and remind you how powerful this thing that we all do and believe in actually can be, especially during this time of year, then ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what will. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.